All right, so let's take a look at this graphic organizer. In the video where they talked about some of that stuff, if you're joining us in this video, watch the links up above. All right, so photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. If we break the word photosynthesis down, it's derived from two words, photo and synthesis. What does the word photo mean, or refer to?
Photo.
Photo doesn't mean photo. Photo means light. Okay, and if we take a photograph, what does your camera need in order to take that photograph? It needs light. Ever try to take a picture in a cave without a flash? Nothing happens, right? Even if you, like in the backyard with no flash, nothing really happens, right? You need light in order to expose the film that no cameras really use anymore. But that was the idea. It had to expose the film in order the light had to expose it. Now there are some cameras that can take pictures in dark. You can use infrared, different type of structure. Okay, so photo means light though. Photo means light. Synthesis, like GarageBand is a synthesizer, and we can use GarageBand to do what? Put a bunch of put together things, right? We can put together a bunch of different types of music. So synthesize means putting together, or sometimes we could just say to make. Like if I synthesize something, I made something. So it uses light to make something, or it uses light to put things together. Okay? Let's start right here. What is the gas produced during photosynthesis? What do plants produce? What is the gas, solid liquid gas, not gasoline, the gas that plants give off? O2, which is oxygen. And that's what we breathe. We need oxygen in order to survive. All living things need oxygen in order to survive, including the fish in the fish tank like we just talked about. So photosynthesis takes place in what? Plants. Or we could say oxygen is released from plants. Now, yesterday we talked about other organisms like algae and some bacteria also go through photosynthesis, but plants are the big one that we refer to. So photosynthesis takes place in plants, and they have specialized organelles called blank, which is where photosynthesis occurs. The chloroplasts. The chloroplasts. Okay. And chloroplast contains blank, chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is that green stuff. When you get grass stains, that's chlorophyll. And chlorophyll, which is a natural pigment, is a natural pigment that receives sunlight. Or you could say light. I think sunlight probably works the best here, because light, sunlight, light, there's two lights, one sunlight, but whatever. Or we could say photosynthesis is the process in which sunlight, okay, right, so sunlight fits there too. So if we kind of keep going along that path, photosynthesis is the process in which sunlight is converted into chemical energy. It changes the form of energy. It takes light energy and it transforms it into chemical energy. And that chemical energy is stored as glucose. Is it the word glucose or the chemical formula glucose? Where is it? Glucose is the word. Glucose, which, just because I'm going to put the C6H12O6, that's the chemical formula for glucose, just to put that out there. Our last kind of three bubbles goes along this line. So photosynthesis needs blank, blank, and blank in order to produce that glucose.
Light.
They need light, and the location of these three don't really matter, just for the record. I'm putting light there. What else?
CO2.
CO2, which is carbon dioxide, and they need H2O, which is water. So if plants have carbon dioxide, water, and light, they are going to produce glucose, which is a form of chemical energy that we can use for life, for daily activities, cellular activities, I should say. So in this circle right here, is a overall chemical reaction. So we kind of said already, like what goes in, this is needed, and it produces this, and it produces this. And that's exactly what our chemical reaction is. I want you to know this. I want you to know that if we take CO2, and I'm going to leave a little space in front of the CO2, plus, and I'm going to leave a little space in front of the H2O and energy, and I'm going to put energy like that, and I'm going to put in parentheses light. It's going to give us chemical reaction. In order for this chemical reaction to occur, the arrow, I need those three things. And if those three things are present, a chemical reaction will occur, and I will produce glucose, C6H12O6, and I'm going to leave a little space, O and O2. Okay? Now, conservation of matter says that if I count all of my carbons on the left, I have to have the same number of carbons on the right. All my oxygens on the left have to equal all my oxygens on the right. All of my hydrogens, I think was the one that I have left, have to equal all my hydrogens on the other side. So we have to balance chemical reactions, and in order, oops, not supposed to go there. In order for me to balance my chemical reaction, I have to add some sixes. So if I have 6 carbon dioxide molecules, and if I have 6 water molecules and some sunlight, I can produce 1 molecule of C6H12O6, glucose, and I can produce 6 oxygen molecules. 6, 6, 6. Those are the 3 coefficients that go in front of the carbon dioxide, the water, and the oxygen. Not the glucose. 6, 6, 6. Okay? They're all 6s. So, a couple things. Time, we're doing perfect. So, I wanted you to make sure you have a good copy. This is what I'm referring to as your good copy. Okay? And I can zoom out a little bit, or I can kind of change this so you can see it. I'll also post it in today's agenda. I want you to, we're kind of creating a packet. If you want to staple the packet together, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. But there's a staple. The order that I want this is your good copy that we just did together. On page 2, which is really just the backside, is the scientists' names. And then on page 3 would be the giant chloroplast, because I suggested you put an X on the other side, because this is maybe not a good copy that you don't want to study off of, because maybe you made some mistakes. This would be page 3. If you want to staple them, fine. If you don't, that's up to you. Pages 2 and pages 3 are not done. You have some time to do these. These are really good summaries of what we talked about yesterday, and these are really good summaries of the flow graphic organizer, and these are really good summaries of the video. There were 3 scientists that are pretty important in terms of figuring out photosynthesis. Von Helmont, Priestley, and Ingenhouse, listed on page 2. I would like you to summarize what they did, what their experiment was. It could be in words, it could be a picture. If you say, oh gosh, it was on the board. Oh, it was on the board. It's also in your guided notes. Picture of the board is in yesterday's agenda at the very bottom if you really want to look at that picture. Otherwise, look in your notes. It could be words, it could be a picture. It was the willow trees and water. It was the candle with mint sprig in a jar in light and dark, right? Know what the scientists did, and then what did they figure out? Oh, it needs this. It gave off this. That's what we're asking for. The next thing is an equation. Not every part of the photosynthesis equation has a scientist associated with it. Nowhere in those 3 scientists do we talk about glucose. I'm just saying that in advance. The giant chloroplast has some parts. This is straight off your guided notes. Okay, this diagram is straight off your guided notes. Just like in the video, the third bullet point say the two most important parts are, and they only talked about two of the parts in the video, because those are the two parts where the light reaction and the Kelvin cycle happen. Okay, and then explain. So you got about, what do we got, 8 minutes before class is officially over. You got 2 pages of nice summaries that will kind of go through and summarize section 1 and section 2. I'm going to say this, if a teacher goes through something in class and then they ask you to do something again with it, day 2 in a row of seeing some scientist names might be an indicator that you want to know the scientist names. Not guaranteeing it's going to be on an assessment, but the more times you see something show up in a class, better odds that this is an important structure, that's something important that you'll probably see on an assessment. That's just a test-taking tip for a class. So just keep those things in mind. You got some time to work? Let me know what I can do to help you out. Tomorrow we're doing a lab.